At the peak of his career, Brendan Fraser had something most actors only dream of: box office success, worldwide recognition, and a kind of audience love that felt genuine, not manufactured. He wasn't controversial, he wasn't arrogant, he wasn't chasing headlines. He simply showed up, did the work, and let people connect with him. And yet, without warning, Hollywood slowly turned away. The calls didn't stop all at once. There was no announcement, no dramatic headline, no public fallout. The spotlight just shifted. The industry moved forward. And for years, Brendan Fraser became someone people remembered fondly, but no longer saw. This isn't a comeback story. This is the story of what fame quietly takes from even the most loved stars. Subscribe for more fame insights. Long before he became a familiar face on movie posters around the world, Brendan Fraser's journey felt refreshingly simple. He didn't enter Hollywood with scandal attached to his name or a carefully constructed persona. He arrived with sincerity. Audiences sensed it immediately. There was something approachable about him, something human that made people root for him without really knowing why. Early in his career, he stood out not because he demanded attention, but because he didn't. Directors trusted him. Studios felt safe putting their projects in his hands. He could lead a film without overshadowing it. He could be funny without being cruel, heroic without being intimidating. In an industry obsessed with extremes, Brendan felt balanced. As the years passed, that balance turned into momentum. One successful project led to another. His face became familiar in homes around the world. He wasn't just acting in movies, he was becoming part of people's memories. For many viewers, his films weren't just entertainment, they were comfort. By the late 1990s and early 2000s, Brendan Fraser had reached a place most actors never touch. He was trusted by studios, loved by audiences, and recognizable across generations. Hollywood had found someone rare, a leading man who didn't intimidate, didn't alienate, and didn't divide. But success in Hollywood always comes with a hidden cost. Behind the humor and adventure that audiences saw on screen, the physical demands of his roles were taking a toll. Action-heavy performances required repeated stunts, long shooting schedules, and relentless strain on his body. At the time, pushing through pain was treated as professionalism. Stopping was seen as weakness. In Hollywood, the show doesn't pause for recovery. The schedule moves on. Expectations remain the same, and the pressure to deliver never slows down. While audiences laughed and cheered, the wear and tear accumulated quietly. Injuries that didn't fully heal became part of daily life. Physical exhaustion blended into emotional fatigue. But outwardly, nothing seemed wrong. The smile was still there, the work continued. At the same time, personal pressures began to stack up. Fame has a way of magnifying everything. Responsibilities grow, expectations increase, and privacy slowly disappears. Life doesn't get easier when success arrives, it gets louder. Hollywood rarely asks how someone is holding up, it only asks what they can deliver next. Then, gradually, something changed. There was no public rejection, no dramatic fallout, no controversy to point to. Instead, there was absence. Scripts stopped arriving, meetings became less frequent, conversations that once felt routine simply didn't happen anymore. Brendan Fraser wasn't officially dropped, he was quietly replaced. This is how Hollywood often works. Careers don't always end with a bang, many fade out through silence. The industry doesn't push you away, it just stops reaching for you. For someone who had once been everywhere, the quiet was unsettling. Projects moved forward without him, new faces filled the spaces he once occupied, and the machine kept running as if nothing had changed. From the outside, it looked like a mystery. Fans began to notice his absence long before the industry acknowledged it. Online discussions appeared. People asked where he had gone, what happened to him, why he wasn't around anymore. But inside Hollywood, there were no explanations, no public concern, no effort to reconnect. The truth is uncomfortable but simple. Hollywood remembers momentum more than people. When momentum slows, attention shifts. Studios don't ask what someone gave in the past, they ask who can deliver right now. And Brendan Fraser became someone remembered warmly, but no longer prioritized. The silence carried a unique kind of weight. To be known, recognized, and yet no longer invited into the room creates a deep sense of isolation. Fame doesn't prepare you for being forgotten, it only teaches you how loud attention can be when it's there. What made Brendan's story especially painful was that he hadn't done anything wrong. He hadn't burned bridges. He hadn't turned against the industry. He hadn't reinvented himself in a way that made people uncomfortable. He simply wasn't loud enough to fight the system. In Hollywood, silence is often misunderstood. It's mistaken for weakness. While louder personalities dominate conversations and command attention, quieter figures fade into the background, regardless of their contribution. Behind the scenes, the cost of being consistently kind and professional became clear. Being easy to work with doesn't always protect you. Being loved by audiences doesn't guarantee loyalty from the industry. And being dependable doesn't always mean being remembered. As years passed, Brendan Fraser's name became associated with nostalgia rather than opportunity. People spoke about him with affection, but not with expectation. He became a reminder of a different era rather than a participant in the current one. Industry insiders often describe Hollywood as a momentum-driven machine. Once that momentum slows, reversing it becomes incredibly difficult. Timing matters as much as talent, visibility matters as much as skill, and health, both physical and emotional, is rarely considered until it's too late. Brendan Fraser's experience reveals a harsh reality. Hollywood rewards availability, not humanity. If you can't keep up with the pace, the system doesn't adjust for you, it adjusts around you. His story isn't unique. Hollywood history is filled with actors who reached extraordinary heights and then quietly disappeared, not because they failed, but because the machine moved on. New faces replaced familiar ones, new narratives replaced old favorites. The difference is that Brendan's absence felt personal to audiences. People missed him not just as an actor, but as a presence. His films had left an emotional imprint, and that absence created a lingering question about what fame actually gives and what it ultimately takes away.